Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Time for a little lesson on right and triangle proofs. This is our first one where we're really diving into how to write these proofs and what they look like. So just like in your language arts classes, your social studies classes, you'll make claims and then you have to back it up with evidence. That's pretty much what's happening here, but we write it in mathematical ways. We're going to use number 2 as our first example here. On each one of these problems, you'll be given a picture of a couple triangles, and you'll have some things listed as given. And these givens are already on our picture. So we got that PQ and RS are congruent. We got the congruent marks there. And then we got angle PQS, that's this one, and then angle RSQ are congruent as well. Well, you start with some information, and you're going to put that information in your proof. It's like, okay, this is what we have to start with. And then you have to see if there's any other bits of information that you need to conclude about your shape. So the way we organize our proofs is here on the left side, we will write statements. These are what things are congruent or what steps we can take to show congruence. And then on the right side, we say why these statements to the left are true. And so on all of these proofs, your beginning part here is always going to be your givens. You need to start with some information. So let's start with some information. We're going to use these as our givens. We got segment PQ is congruent to segment RS. And that's a given. It's in our list up here. And then our other given is, well, listed here. We're going to write angle PQS is congruent to angle RSQ. And those things are congruent because it was given to us. The problem told us those things were there. It was already in the picture. Well, to finish proving that these two triangles are congruent, you actually need 3 pairs of things to be congruent, because we got our 4 theorems. You got side, 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 angle, angle, and angle, angle, side. You have to prove that either 3 sides are congruent, or 2 sides and the angle between them are congruent, or 2 angles and the side between them are congruent, or 2 angles and the side not between them is congruent. And so you have to show these things in your proof. We've shown we got these 2 things, these 2 pairs of things congruent, these 2 angles and 2 sides. Well, there is also another congruence we can add on this picture, and this is guaranteed because this is a shared side, and the reason we can say that's congruent to itself is this thing called the reflexive property. I've talked about it previously, but you need to realize it has an official name. It's called reflexive property. And so on our third line here, that statement's already made. QS is congruent to itself. That's this segment here. And the reason is because of the reflexive property. Okay. So now in our final line here, we're going to say, well, we got 2 congruent triangles now. And you have to say why they're congruent. Well, in this case, we got a side, we got an angle, and we got a side, side, angle, side. For both of them, side, angle, side. And so both these triangles have side, angle, side. So the triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. So that's just an overview of how a proof works. On this front side of this assignment, you're mainly just filling in the blanks here. You look at the givens, you look at what's here, and you kind of justify why these statements are here. Often it's things like given, or reflexive property, or vertical angles. And then at the end you say, well, which theorem proves those 2 triangles are congruent? And then that's how kind of the process there. So on the front there, you're just filling in the blanks, getting used to how it works. When you get to the back, you need to write out the whole proof on your own. We're going to use number 29 as an example. And so here we have some givens, and we're trying to prove the 2 triangles are congruent. To help us out with that, you need 2 columns. So let's get a couple columns here. On the left side, we got some statements. You think I can write legibly sometime? And then on the right side, we got reasons why those things are true. And so I'm going to just go through my givens. I start with my givens here. I got PS is congruent to QR. And that was given to me in the start of this problem. And I have my other given here. PQ is congruent to SR. That was also a given. You might hear those kids in the background. And so I got these pairs of sides matching. Well, I can look at my picture and see if there's another pair of things congruent. And we can use this inside part here. Just like on our last problem, they have a shared side in the middle. So I can say PR is congruent to itself, PR. And that's the reflexive property. I'm going to write that up. And so now I have these three pairs of things matching in my two triangles, and I can write out that the triangles are congruent. Again, triangle PRS is congruent to. When you write the name of the other triangle, you do have to write the letters in corresponding order. So if I went from P to R to S, I went across the 3 congruent and then the 2 congruent. So when I name my other triangle, I need to write it in corresponding order. I have to go across the 3 and across the 2. So I'm going to go from R to P to Q. So I'm going to do R, P, Q as the name of the other one. And this is because all three sides match up. So that's side, side, side. And so I've completed my proof there. You need to identify the three pairs of things that are congruent, why they're congruent, and then you state that the triangles are congruent by one of our 4 theorems. So good luck on the rest of them.